Welcome to another podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the how to make a hero dish, or what is your hero dish. Mostly when we go to a restaurant, right? We go to a restaurant because they have one very good dish that we enjoy eating. For example, you say, oh, that restaurant is the best pasta ever, let's go eat there. Or you go to another restaurant, they have the best steak ever, so let's go eat there. So if you're building a menu for your restaurant, I think it's very important to decide what will be your hero dish, what will bring people inside your restaurant. If you don't have something like an item that people come in, then it's harder to get people inside your restaurant, and it's harder for you to move them towards other dishes. For example, here in my restaurant, my barbecue pork ribs is the most famous dish I have. It's my hero dish. It accounts for about, I'd say 45% of all my sales. So it's a driving force in my restaurant. And what this does is that it brings people in, and even if you, I just move the camera here, and all right. So like I said, it brings people in, right? And not everybody will eat my barbecue pork ribs. That's a fact. But here's what it does, right? It brings people that wants to eat them, and it also brings people who wants to eat something else. So there's a reason to be in my restaurant. That's what I'm saying. Just give me a second here. All right. Yeah, so the hardest part in your restaurant is to bring traffic in and keep them in, right? So if you advertise like on the internet or something, then you need to find like something enticing. Usually a good protein is the way to go, unless your customers, you're vegetarians or something like that. It's not really my crowd, but you see what I'm saying here. So everything in my restaurant is towards my ribs, right? It's really the best seller here, and there's a reason for that. They're pretty darn good. So there you go. I also have other hero dishes. Like for example, in every category, you should have one of your, like something you're pushing to your customers because you know that it's a good dish. I have, my pastas are all good. My family is originally from Italy, so I know how to make good pasta, but I have one pasta that will sell more than all the other pastas I have in the restaurant. It's one of my grandmother's recipes. She's from Italy, so I have a story to go with the pasta as well. For the pizza, right, my favorite one to push is actually the simplest one to push. I call it a New York style. You got to remember we are in Taiwan, so to simplify how to communicate my menu with customers, I pretty much give them like country's name, like a Canadian bacon pizza or something like that, or a Tex-Mex, or so it's easier to communicate to the customer what the pizza is all about. Having a story for food is great, but who has half an hour to explain blah 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 blah. So to communicate faster is better like that. So that's why I named my ribs. They're actually a St. Louis dry rub, but I call them New Orleans barbecue pork rib because it's easier to communicate what the ribs are. Everybody knows New Orleans. So like I was saying, to communicate your dish, it's very important. If the story is too long or uninteresting, then customers, they don't really care. They lose interest pretty fast. The same thing goes with if you make a menu. Let's say you're planning to do Italian food, right? And you're starting all your crap in Italian, your menu in Italian. Then you go like, well, why make it more difficult for the customer for the sake of authenticity? We have Google now, right? Like it's not really special to write in the language of origin. In my restaurant, my menu is in Chinese and in English. And if I started to write some Italian words in there, why confuse the customer? So back to our hero dishes. What these dishes will do is once your customer is in, right, he wants to come back. But, after 2-3 times of eating your ribs, maybe he wants to try something else. So here's where the trick part is that your hero dish is not the one that's going to give you the most money, right? I make a good margin on my ribs because I know how to make them at a good price. But Sometimes you have a dish and you will accept to lose a little bit of money, not lose money, make less profit. Let's be clear about this. We're not losing money on anything. And make a little bit less money on your hero dish because it will send customer, it will drive your customers to other dish where your margins are higher. So for example, if on my ribs my margin is, we'll just give rough numbers, let's say 50%, right? And that customer comes in a restaurant, which is great, 50% of 15 bucks, let's say $7. It's a decent profit for one item. We're talking food only, okay? Not cost of operation, of course. So, but then after that, your customer goes to a pasta, which costs like $10, but you still make your $7, so your margin is a lot higher on that. So what you want to do is you're using your hero dish to drive your customers to other dishes, which are more profitable for you. Also, you can bring people in a restaurant for maybe your barbecue pork ribs, like in my case, but the 3 people with them, right, they want to try something else. So let's say they share the dishes together, right? So they'll take 1 ribs, let's say 1 chicken, 1 pasta, and 1 pizza. Well, your pasta and your pizza is free money, right? Let's get clear with this, right? Pizza is not, I'm just going to move some stuff around here. I'll be right back. It's free money, right? Pizzas are cheap to make. You can make them fast. It's a great item. It's actually very delicious. I like it, but we're talking about business here. We're not talking about what you like to eat or what I like to eat. So like I was saying, you know, you have a table of 4 and they're exploring the menu, and then they find dishes that they like. You know, it's kind of your job to have all delicious dishes, right? You don't have crap on your menu. So you need to find a reason, give a reason to the customer to come to your place, right? If you go to a good steakhouse, you don't go there for the pasta. However, maybe somebody's there with you and they don't like to eat steak, and then they go to the pasta, and then you discover that the pasta is actually delicious, so you gave them one more reason to come into your restaurant. I think if you, in my restaurant, right, bread is, like what I'm doing now, is the core of my restaurant. Everything has bread in it or with it, and it's not what drives my restaurant, but it's one of the reasons why people come here. They know they get fresh bread. The story is good on my bread. It's Ukrainian bread, Jewish Ukrainian egg bread. People like it. In Taiwan, bread is not really, it's more like cake, so I make a good living with my bread. And then people really come for my ribs. They come from far away. They'll drive 100 kilometers to come and eat my ribs. Once they're here, my job is to send them to other dishes to help them discover my restaurant. So if you're thinking of opening your own place, think about a dish. Look at where you are at, right? Because for me, ribs work here, but if you're in India, it might not work, or in a Muslim country, it might not work as well. So you need to look around, right? What do people like to eat? What's the community around you? And then you need to find a dish and rehearse that dish. You just got to make it over, make it over, make it over. Have some friend try it. Maybe if you're in a position to have somebody in the community that your dish is from to try it, give you some insight, talk with some grandmas. Talking with grandma is always a good thing because it adds to the story of your dish, right? Like for my bread, I actually worked in a Russian-Ukrainian, well, don't know how to call this country anymore, in a bakery that was owned by Ukrainian Russians back then. It's like 35 years ago. And I got the recipe from them. It was actually a recipe of a grandma. It was a very famous bakery in my city of Montreal. And I have a story to go with my bread, right? So knowing your, knowing your menu is not knowing what's inside of it. It's knowing where it comes from, who eats it, what's the origin, how did you acquire this recipe. Recipes are on the internet now. You can find anything that you want. It's not very complicated, you know. But if you have a story to go with your dish, it's going to go a long way to sell that dish. So, yeah, so back to a hero dish. Just find something that doesn't cost a lot to make. I know, like for me, ribs are a bit more expensive to make, but you know, my restaurants are established. My name is good in this city, actually in this country. So People follow me anywhere I go. My customers follow me from restaurant to restaurant because they know me. They know the quality of my food. And yeah, so maybe start with something that is not as expensive as ribs, right? If you open a steakhouse, the cost for your hero dish, right, is going to be astronomical. If people don't want to eat steak and they decide they want to eat something else, then you kind of put yourself in a corner with that thing there. So it's something to think about. And I'm going to finish the bread and see you in the next podcast. Bye bye.